It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. If this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome. We are actually going to be going into our 14th year here soon, and I'm really excited about how things are going. We have so many amazing guest hosts. We've got a lot of things planned for 2024, and I can't wait for you guys to learn more about that. But today, I've got the great pleasure of interviewing a former diva that I'm so excited to be welcoming back. Her name is Gina Diamond, and we have going to be talking about some great things today. So welcome back to the show, Gina.
Thank you so much, Candace. I'm really, really happy to reconnect with you and your audience.
Oh my gosh, me too. It's been a long time, and I know there's going to be a lot of things that you can update us with, and we can learn more about you. So I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate your openness to doing this work and offering a voice to women like me who want to be of service in the world.
It's so exciting. I love collaborating. So Gina, would you mind reintroducing yourself to our listeners today?
Sure. So everybody knows I'm Gina, and I'm a master health coach and author. And I help people learn how to love being in their body through nutrition, trauma release strategies, and conscious movement.
So tell me, do you work with women all around the world?
I work with women all over the world and the people they influence. And I would say about 90 to 95% of my clientele I work with virtually. So I have the opportunity to reach anybody anywhere. And of course, I also serve some people locally.
I love that. And did you find that big shift in the last few years?
I did indeed, like a lot of us. Yep.
Well, when I've had the opportunity to interview women on the show, that's one of their biggest thing is that they made these huge changes in their lives. And a lot of them said, you know, as hard as it made them a lot happier.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm all about having a healthy lifestyle. And so there's certainly something said for being able to work online and having that flexibility. And I also do travel. So I just actually got back from Costa Rica because I'm scouting out places to do a women's retreat. And I was able to keep all my clients while I was gone. So that was really, really a benefit. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I do love being face to face with people, and I do love looking in people's eyes directly, not through a screen. So I understand that there are trade-offs, but there's pretty much trade-offs with everything in life. And I've done it long enough now where I have found that I'm getting the same results.
Yes,
virtually. So it's working.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And I really love the idea that you're scouting places for a retreat, because a lot of people are now looking to start doing that again. You know, we love that face-to-face experience. We love being able to collaborate together in those groups again. And why not, when you have a similar goal in mind, what you're wanting to accomplish, and just having that ability to relax and rejuvenate. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. And I hope that when you get it all sorted out, that you come back on the Divas and share that with us.
Oh, well, thank you for that invitation. Of course, I'd be happy to. Yes.
Oh, that's excellent. So tell us, Gina, what have you been up to in the last couple of years? You know, you were talking about, I know that you have a book out there and you've got another one that you're going to be releasing. So what else have you been doing?
Well, the biggest, most profound update that I can offer is a new technique that I was introduced to, and I was introduced to it for my own personal healing journey. And I bring that up because I think it's really important that folks that are coaches or therapists or in that line of work, that we do our own healing work, and that we try out whatever we're using, whatever we're inviting our peoples to. We need to have the experience of it ourselves. So this came into my life because I've been doing healing work for my own personal journey for about 30 years or so. And I had definitely made headway and learned a lot about the value of putting nutrient dense food in the body and detoxing and moving and breathing in the right ways, and all the things that we think of when we think of wellness. And I was still struggling with my core issue. And I always remain open and curious. And so something came into my field that has been, I would say this technique is probably more effective than all my other techniques combined. So it is becoming the foundation of my work. And it was created by a man named Arnaud Guérin. And I was actually trained personally by him and also coached by him. And he has multiple techniques, but I'll just focus on the first one because that's where we start everybody. So all of us are holding in our cellular memory traumas, triggers, and limiting beliefs from this lifetime, from what we inherited from our ancestors and our DNA. And I'll even go on a limb and say from our past lives, whether, you can take it or leave it, whether you believe in that. But what happens is with this technique is Arnaud has found a way to bypass the brain filter consciously. We all bypass the brain filter and program ourselves, whether we know it or not. But he has shared how the brain filter works, and he teaches how you can consciously bypass it, which is the only way, or the main way, I'll say, because there's always new things coming out, where you can reach the unconscious and reprogram it permanently. So most of the time, the healing work that people do during the day, once you understand how the brain filter works, is temporary. And that's why people, they might get a little bit of headway or a little bit of relief, but they keep having the same patterns play out. They keep having the same triggers that they're responding to, and not get, especially over the stress that we've had over the last couple of years, people aren't really getting where they want to be. And so if one can go through a process and have support and consciously bypass the brain filter, then what happens is you can separate memory from the emotional response to that memory. And you can clear or neutralize or transform, whatever word you want to use, the emotional response so that just the memory remains, but your emotional response to it, your trigger, your feelings of sadness, fear, anger, just begin to not be there anymore. And so you can look back and you can think about that episode that happened when you were in second grade by your teacher, and you still know that it happened, but your sadness or your depressive response to it is what can be transmuted, and it can be done permanently, so that that's just a done thing. And if something else similar to it happens in life, you won't be brought back to that time when you were a second grader in school.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And is this what you do with each of your clients?
I do. So it has become the foundation of my work, because even when I had clients that were just coming for me for the nutrition part, maybe they wanted to lose weight, maybe they wanted to sleep better, maybe they wanted more energy, maybe they had symptoms of disease that they wanted to see be disseminated. What I was finding is that people have all these limiting beliefs around the suggestions that I was making, and they were using willpower to make positive changes. And that's, we have willpower for a reason, and I'm grateful for it. The problem is that willpower is finite. and it exhausts us. So there's a different way we can eliminate the things that are causing us to have these challenges or these struggles so that it just becomes our natural way of being. And it's what we want to do. It's not even, oh, I have to exercise 3 times a week, or I have to start eating better if I want the goals. We just naturally start, once we clear the muck that is keeping us stuck, we just naturally begin to want to do those things. It's a much easier route, and people just, it just becomes who they are. So it's not this, oh, I have to set a new New Year's resolution. That whole equation is taken away, which I think is
well, and you're
yeah.
obviously seeing a lot of results, a lot of positive results, if this is your foundation now.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm really shocked because I had more layers than I realized in my unconscious mind. And so my journey was actually a little bit slower than a lot of the clients that I'm seeing. And I never make any promises in terms of how fast people can clear things. There's many variables to that. But because I only really had my own experience to use as an evaluation tool, it's been very helpful to use it for other people and to see what's possible and to see something different. So for example, I had well, she's still a client, and she's given me permission to share her story. So she came to me, she was 3 years living in her car. And I mean, I can go on and on, health problems and whatnot, but we did one session clearing her what was at the root that was causing her to continually create not having a place to live, which was very much based on childhood trauma. And the next day she got a call for a free place to live. And every session has been like that.
Oh my
Now,
God.
again, I never make, again, I want to be really clear. I don't make that promise because that was not my experience. But there's a range, and some people do fall in that range. And why I bring her up is because I always want to hold the intention that we can clear things as quickly as the body can handle. I never want to give too much or too little. So we want to find that sweet spot. And that's partly why it's really important to work with somebody that has those type of skills as well, because there are coaches out there who bombard the body, and you can work too fast. So again, it's yes, I want everybody to get relief as quickly as they can. Yes, I want everybody to have life transformational experiences, and I'd rather do it at the pace that they can handle. So there's that fine tuning, if you will.
That's extraordinary, because we don't hear a lot about that. And I love that you're talking about this technique. It's not something that I think we've talked about here on the Divas That Care Network. Tell me the step-by-step how you typically work with an individual to kind of get them started. I know that our listenership, we do have listeners from all around the world. So is this obviously something you can do with them, via Zoom and stuff like that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So most of my clients, I am doing it by Zoom. And how I generally start is I offer a 20-minute free discovery session. And that gives us a little opportunity to meet. I have a set of questions to really quickly go in and see what's the root issue. I like to work at the root and pull out the weeds, if you will, and then overlap the new fresh soil with what's really going to be beneficial to the person. So before we have our first session, that kind of gives me a sense of what would be most helpful, where the person's at, where I can meet them. And then I make suggestions based on that. But pretty much, I would say that I am starting now. I know that this technique exists and what it's doing for people, regardless of whether or not you want to get along with your spouse better, you want to let go of guilt that you have around some things that you did as a parent that you feel you weren't at your best, whether you are dealing with a diagnosis, whether you are wanting to bring in more financial abundance, whether you want to lose weight. I mean, it's all connected, and it's really about feeling great in your body and in your life. And the two are connected, right?
Yes,
So in
they are.
order, yeah. So in order for me to take people down that path, I like to start with the discovery session. I want to make sure, just as much as I'm sure a new client wants to make sure that we're a good fit, I want to briefly explain my philosophy and how I work. And I want to find out if the person is willing to show up for themselves, because I cannot do the work for anybody else. I'm a fantastic coach. However, it's a co-creation and the person needs to meet me halfway. So that's why I start there. And then I'll roll out with a plan, knowing that I am going to suggest pretty much for everybody that we start with this, because even the physical ailments have emotional root causes. So you can come down with something and eat all the kale that you want, but if you came down with it because there's some sort of emotional trigger is stuck in your body, that we have to transform that, as well as eat well. It goes together.
You know what? I couldn't agree more. I love this. Gina, before I forget, how can our listeners go and check that out? How can they get a hold of you so that they can find a way to connect with you?
Yes. So my website is consciouslivingstrategies.com. And on my homepage, there's a Start Here button, and that's where you can sign up for a discovery session. And to be honest with you, I'm really super comfortable with giving out my phone number and just having people can contact me directly, and then we just schedule between the two of us. So I'm going to do that now. So my phone number is 206-499-1791. And you can just text me and say you heard me on the show and you want to get started with a discovery session, and I'll take you from there. And I do want to let you know, Candace, and your listeners, that because I'm so passionate about this process that has changed my life and has made me a more effective coach, I am rolling out what I'm calling a New Year's Evolution special. And basically it's going to be a donation-based system. I do have a suggested donation range that I'm going to be offering. I want to get as many people through as possible. And so I want to make sure that I'm not just catering to people that are financially set. I want to be able to, again, meet people where they're at and make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to take care of myself and my business, but I'm also providing a service for a wider range of people. And especially, as you know, I love working with women, and I love working with moms. So I am aware that sometimes people need that little extra boost in the new year. So there is a little bit of time sensitivity to it. If this calls to you and you want to explore, then I would really suggest that you reach out in the month of January, because I will grant anybody that sets up their first appointment with me after we do the discovery session will have an opportunity to be grandfathered in with this donation system offering.
I love this. This is so amazing, Gina. Oh my gosh. I hope that you post this in the Changemakers Cafe, because those women, I think, would go all over this. This is a great thing. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yes, I'd be happy to do that.
Oh, that's excellent. So tell me, are your books, well, your one book, is that on your website? Can our listeners go and check that out?
Yes. So the book is listed multiple places on the website. It's called Hidden Treasures. It's survival strategies for parents with picky eaters. You can probably guess who my inspiration was. I have a 21, I have a, yeah, almost 21-year-old daughter who I can happily say is no longer a picky eater, but she once was. And I just began to see through my own journey. Again, I always try to turn my own personal challenges. Once I find a solution, my goal is to then offer it to people so that people don't have to reinvent the wheel.
And what is your new book going to be about?
So my second book is written and it's in the editing stages, but basically it is about it's a spiritual memoir about my journey of leaving a 23-year relationship, the father of my daughter, and what it was like to be a single mom and my healing journey and what I learned along the way, what worked, what didn't work, and just to give women hope out there that whatever you decide to do, if you're hopefully a lot of you are in loving relationships, if you're not, again, this technique is really amazing to help with relationships, by the way, so that you are, because once you're not triggered, you can imagine how you can relate to your loved one, right? So I just want to throw that out since we're talking about it. But I just really, I want to help people create uh, an existence where they're thriving, whether that is, whether they're in a relationship, whether they need to leave a relationship, whether they need to do their healing work, so they need to, because they want to attract that best relationship. I believe we're tribal. I believe we're meant to be connected to people, and we're meant to have positive, healthy relationships, but most of us do not, whether it's looking at our love life, our work life, etc. So the technique, writing my journey and what I learned in the book, coaching people, all of that is the goal is, how can you love being in your body and in your life? How can you thrive? And how can you use that as a springboard to then go and offer your gifts?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about that, Gina. I can't wait to check that out and share that with all of our listeners. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks again. Thanks for giving me a voice.
Oh my gosh, Gina, it has been my pleasure. And as I said, I do hope you come back on the Divas That Care. Here, I want to know more about your retreat. I want to help you launch your book when it comes out. I think that'll be great for our listeners. It's a wonderful way, and we love collaborating with amazing divas like you. So thank you so very much for being my amazing guest today.
Oh, you're welcome. I really appreciate it. And yes, I'd be happy to give you updates. And I look forward to getting people in to experience the technique and then seeing as a base foundation, seeing where that takes them.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Well, we'll definitely have you back on again. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for checking out this amazing podcast. We had so much fun talking with Gina. I'm going to be posting all of her social media links all over the place because I know that you're going to want to check her out. She is just an amazing woman and she's doing some fantastic things out there. I also want to let you guys know that we do have our podcast journal available on Amazon, and that is a great way to keep track of all these amazing guests that come on the Divas That Care network and actually on all the different podcasts out there. It's a great way to write down your favorite quotes, track the episodes that you like, and just be able to check out these amazing people that are on these shows, because sometimes we have these sticky tabs all over our office and we lose those. So why not keep track of it in a journal form? So thank you again, Gina. Thank you to all of our listeners, and make sure that you all do something kind. Until next time, everyone.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.